The idea of z-scores is beautiful because it allows you to take any data set or any multiple data sets and then compare them on a common axis. So one question that comes up, but you can't see this yet. Didn't make this into a, I apologize, I should have made this into a PowerPoint, I didn't. Bud Phelps, Mark Spitz. You may have seen this picture of Phelps. This is back from '08.
He looks young.
I know, isn't it adorable? He's so cute. He's skinny. Looks like a friggin' manta ray now.
I know.
Bats. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 gold medals in '08. Spitz, 72 Olympics. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 72 Olympics, Spitz. 7 gold medals. 8 gold medals, Phelps. 08 Olympics. Who's more impressive? Phelps is more impressive. Why?
Because I saw him.
Because you saw him. You ever see Spitz? Look at that mustache.
No, I know.
Come on,
There's a little more
come on now.
resistance there.
What's that?
A little more
That made the
resistance.
A
difference.
little more resistance. That might be more impressive. He's got to fight that mustache. And that hair, for that matter.
Plus, I know how freakish Michael Phelps is with his joints that can bend the other way.
Okay.
I don't know about Mark Spitz.
Okay, so okay, so Phelps won 8 gold medals. 8's bigger than 7, so therefore Phelps is more impressive. That's kind of a cop-out, right? If you will, it's a cop-out. He's been freakishly not proportioned, but freakishly, physiologically freakish.
He's just
His arm span
He's
is
just
so
a
much
freak.
shorter.
That's
It's
what
gonna
I'm saying.
take long.
So Spitz is a more normal-sized dude, if you will. Okay, maybe. So maybe we should be impressed with Spitz because he dominated in '72, 30 years before Phelps, with a more normal body. Maybe.
But you have 4.
That's not fair.
Well, he didn't have his bigger.
He wasn't even born. That's not fair. Somebody just said you have to compare.
You have to compare him to what other swimmers or whatever.
Boom! And that's the problem, JC. Thank you. I did that.
They're both really good.
Go. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not. But what I am saying is this. The only way to compare them fairly, I think, is to do an apples-apples comparison. It's too hard to compare '72 to '08. Because in '72, they didn't have the cool shark suits that they have nowadays. The training regimens were different in '72 versus '08. Yeah, all this stuff. So what I did was, I went back into the Times. I compared, they have 3 events that they both competed in and won gold medals in. One was a 200-meter butterfly, which I can't even comprehend because I believe it's 25 meters of butterfly. One, I think, was the 100-meter butterfly, and I think one was the 100 free. I've got them all listed here. So here's just an example of the 200-meter butterfly. This is the final event for the gold medal in the '72 Olympics and the '08 Olympics. Times in minutes. Here you go. Get a little bit smaller so you can see everybody. Now there are 8 dudes in the pool during this final. Here are the 8 dudes in '72. Here are the 8 dudes in 2008. You can see Phelps at the top of Spitz at the top. So a quick look at this would say, oh, well, Phelps got 1.867. That's a lot less than 2.012, so therefore he's more impressive. And Robert's going to say, go ahead, why not?
You have to compare it with the.
Yeah, you gotta compare it with your width, your times.
Yes, I love the word width. Go ahead, Kate, hold that thought.
Oh, hold my thought or say my thought?
No, hold Robert's thought.
Okay. Well, if you look at Phelps in the 2008, it's 1.8, 1.8, 1.8, 1.9, 1.9. And if you look over at Spitz,
They're all within.
they're, except for him, which it's still.
0.03 of a second
Yeah.
is quick. But what separated Phelps from second place was less than 100th of a second, or right around 1. So 3 times more time, granted it's hundredths of a second,
Yeah.
separated first and second here than first and second here. So if you think about it, Spitz dominated lane, whatever, 5. I'm sure he was in lane 5 or 4 at that point. 4, lane 4, is 4 the fastest
He's
one?
always in 4.
He's always in 4, okay. Well, Phelps or Spitz?
Phelps.
I'll go with Spitz. I'm guessing he's in 4 as well, 4 or 5. One of the ones, they put the fast guys in the middle, fast girls in the middle.
What?
So they kind of finish in a echelon, I don't know why. But,
So you can.
It's for drag on it.
oh, is that for drag?
You can-
Thank you, Scotty. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. Awesome. JC, go.
My
But you-
sister swam for like 8 years and was the fastest, just so you can see.
So you can see the echelon come in and it's less
Based
drag.
on seed time from like.
Of course.
the
So the fast in the middle, the slowest on the end, me in the stands. So what I did was, I ran the numbers for all 8 of these dudes. I calculated their average and their standard deviation. So the average finish time in '72 was 2.066 seconds. And in 2008 was 1.898 seconds. And there's the plus or minus. Notice the plus or minus is vastly different. It's a little bit wider in 72 and a little bit narrower in 2008. I would expect that. Training has gotten a lot better in that time. And you would expect that the top level athletes are much closer. This is why they do things like the shark suits and the crazy training. If you watch, even when they enter the water, they stay underwater. At least, I'm guessing this is true, Scott. I think this is true. They stay underwater longer than they used to. They're doing more dolphin underwater. And I guess they either changed the rules or that never was a rule, so they can do that because they're actually taking up time that way. When you're at this level, every 100th of a second makes a difference, as you can see. So any efficiency gain is going to be rewarded with gold medals, and that's why I think the standard deviation is tightening up. So then, why do I care about this? Because now I can compare an apples, can't I? I can make a z-score for Phelps using these averages, because I have his raw score. I can do that minus that over that for Phelps, and I can do that minus that over that for Spitz, and see who comes up lower. And now I've got a z-score common scale, yes? Let's do it. So here we go, there's Spitz. Spitz is negative 2.01. Freakish. 2 standard deviations down from average. Freakish, freakish. Here's Phelps. 1.62 standard deviations down. Freakish, but not as freakish. Phelps is not down as far from average as Spitz is. So in my opinion, based on this analysis, my opinion, read it as such, my opinion, not fact, Spitz is more impressive than Phelps looking at it this way. Because when you weight it with the standard deviation, he dominated his heat more than Phelps dominated his heat. There can be arguments, of course. I don't want to, and I'm sure they're all valid, especially you guys that actually swim. But I did it for all the events. Here is the 100 fly and the 200 free. My analysis is that Phelps is a beast in the free compared to Spitz, and Spitz owns the fly compared to Phelps. That's my conclusion. I have mad respect for both of them. I try butterfly, I drink half the pool. I try freestyle, I breathe the one side. Harris, what you got?
So, from the 70s, to nowadays, in
Yes.
70s, couldn't you use supplements like steroids and stuff?
I don't know.
My
I mean,
dad
you
played
could.
ball back then, and he was
They
getting
started
steroids.
Coke in the 70s, and that was a supplement back then.
Yeah.
That's how I'm not joking. Tour de France cyclists died because they would smoke Coke before races. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that was a performance-enhancing drug, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what I think is so funny when they busted Phelps for smoking pot. Performance-enhancing, it's pot.
Yeah.
Listen, unless you put the Snickers bar at the end of the run, I'm not sure how that's performance-enhancing. Sorry, it's a Robin Williams joke, sorry. But yeah, I mean, yes, I'm sure they could, but that's the beauty of doing analysis like this. Because assuming that it's spread across evenly, you'd imagine, this is the argument that many professional cyclists use for doping. If you remember, if you followed the Tour de France, which I did for years, and I fell out of love with it when all the doping scandals started hitting. I just read the book about Lance Armstrong called Wheelmen, which is a couple of authors got together and interviewed Floyd Landis, Lance Armstrong, Tyler Hamilton, all the coaches, UCI, the ADA, and they asked them, so what caused this? And the answer was, everybody's doing it, so the only way to be competitive is to do it too. And that's what Floyd wrestled with. Floyd Landis, who won the Tour back in, I want to say 2010, I think that's right though, I think that's right, I could be right. He was juiced to the gills, but he actually had a better physiology by measurement than Lance did. Nobody knows about this. Lance Armstrong was touted as this freakish alien, and the dude beat cancer and professionally cycled. I mean, I'm not saying he's a wimp, but he was juiced to the gills the entire time he did it. Floyd's physiology was actually better, and he was raised Mennonite, very religious. He was anti-doping. He did not dope until the coaches threatened to kick him off the squad if he didn't. Well, how do you respond to that? You've got a wife and a kid to feed.
Yeah.
Are you going to vote yourself off a squad because of your ethics? You're going to say, well, I got to feed a baby. I'm going to take your EPO. I'm going to pull my blood, re-infuse it at elevation, and I'm going to kick ass. And which he did.
He could have went public and wrote a book.
He could have, and he actually kind of did in this book. I mean, that's the whole point. He kind of cleansed himself with this book that came out. So the idea is, I don't know how to answer that question, but my response kind of is by doing it this way, you've kind of allowed for that possibility, or you've identified an outlier. You've identified Spitz as, Coke to the gills when he won the 200 fly, but you'd also think his heart would stop if that was the case.
So those like racehorses and stuff too, you can look at like nowadays.
Yes.
And then like compared to like 30, 40 years ago.
Yes.
The breeding and then like the training and stuff, the times have improved like drastically.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think that's across the board.
you know.
Across the board. I've often said, joking, I've told you guys this, when you watch these events on the Olympics, they'll have the guys and the girls in the pool doing their stroke, and they'll have two lines. They'll have a world record and an Olympic record time. I think they should have an everyman time.
Yeah.
Honestly. They should have like an orange, like me in the pool. Like where I would be. Like I'd still be swimming after they're done. And I think that's a genius idea, to give you an idea, because you have no idea. When you watch them in the pool, you're like, oh, that's pretty impressive. That's ludicrous. They're like Evinrude engines in the pool. 200 meters, just so you understand, friends. 200 meters of butterfly in less than 2 minutes.
Killer, yeah.
I can't even run.
200 meters of butterfly, that's 8 lengths of a 25 in 1.9 seconds-ish. I did 25 yesterday morning, as fast as I could in 21 seconds, and my heart almost stopped when I was done. Now granted, I suck, but nonetheless, butterfly is not the easiest stroke. Scott, did you swim fly when you swam?
I did 200 fly.
You did 200 fly, what was your best time?
I don't remember.
It's awesome, I'm sure it was. Because watching people that know how to swim butterfly, it's a beautiful thing. It's art. It's like a dolphin through the water. Watching me, like a dead dolphin. What's that?
It's beautiful for the first 25.
Yeah.
And
And then it just gets to be surviving.
it's just
Staying
like,
alive.
That's staying buoyant at that
trying to
point.
move your arms.
Yeah, it's an intense. And who's tried to swim butterfly in here? A few of us? Yes, everyone this side of the room has tried it. It's a beautiful stroke. It's wonderful. I mean, I'm learning all kinds of tricks like, drag the thumbs by the hips and pop out of the water, but yep, exactly. Then she rockets you out and you kind of get
Undulate.
Undulate.
Listen to Tomas.
to undulate. Yes, undulate. Very nice, very nice. I listen to Tomas, I just can't do it. So, at any rate, that's another way to use Z-scores. You can compare data that way. You put them on the same scale. Different scales, clearly different scales, yes? I mean, think about it this way. Last place dude in 08, faster than Spitz in 72. Think about it that way, right? That tells you something right there. If you graphed these two, even if they were bell-shaped, which they might or might not be,
They'd be awesome.
they're going to be completely different scales. So you can't look at them without doing some kind of a comparative, and that's where the Z-score comes in. So there you go. One more tool for your, well, it's the same tool for your toolbox, one more use for the tool. Kind of like using a wrench to hammer a nail in. You can do it if you have to. Michael!
What was your text message?
Text message. Oh, just a friend that said the baby was born. The baby was mother went into labor early. That's it. And that's why it tied back to this. It tied back to the scene where we fall on the curve. So I had you guys analyze it for me, basically. There we go. Cool. Rock on, my friends. Let's do this for next time. Can you bring questions on the normal for Tuesday? Don't see you again until Tuesday. So bring any questions on the normal distribution. I'm going to try to get some videos uploaded. I didn't do that yet. I apologize. No videos uploaded for the normal distribution yet. I'll get them done. Hopefully tomorrow. They'll be done way before Tuesday, so you'll actually have them uploaded. I get that Excel spreadsheet too. Okay, we'll catch you then.